if anyone is listening to these, particularly when I tag people, but I mean, there's some things that I want to say to Senator Ron Paul, really, that are quite important. I mean, he did actually mention YouTube in the video interview that he did with RFK Jr. the other day. So, I mean, they were talking about it towards the end of their conversation. But I really think, like, it's taken me a long time to contemplate this. And the more and more you contemplate it, really to the like, Rand Paul is concentrating on the COVID thing, and Fauci in great detail to do with science reports, facts, and he spends a lot of time contemplating it. I've been doing the same, but with YouTube, basically, and what they've been doing to us and the whole law around it. Not just when it comes to, like, if we're doing petitions or investigations and we've got other rights that come into play that normally people engaging in entertainment or business in media and videos, there are lots of political rights that YouTube are currently, they're acknowledging election rights and categorizing them. If you hand money over and put them through Google Ads, it still comes onto YouTube. It's still displayed on and through the YouTube website, but they're getting a special category and special classification acknowledged. YouTube are refusing to do that through normal channels where you don't pay, you just have a free account. Yet, there's nothing to stop you having something which is recognized as an advertisement in a normal account. It's advertising, promoting something. You're just not paying for them to show it to more people, like, boost posts or whatever. You just get the normal standard viewers when they're searching for things, but it still can be an advertisement, or the class of an advertisement is also representation, words, letters, or whatever. But so we've got there's two main categories. There's things that are elections and petitions, and things that are regarded as investigations or material that is in the Criminal Procedure Rules 2020. We've got this term now that's been introduced from 2020, which wasn't in the 2015 procedure rules, and that is privileged information, legally privileged information, right, between clients and legal actions, cases, suits, entities. So that's legally privileged information. The prosecution is not allowed to use legally privileged information in certain instances. A good example of this is, like, in the Representation of the People Act in England, in the earlier 1948 one, there's an offence like illegal canvassing by police officers, right? They're not allowed to interfere with, touch, or move in any way election material, right? A serving police officer. So if they can't even touch it or move it, how can they take it, seize it, or use it as evidence? And the explanation for that is that if there is any legal activities concerning elections, it's actually prosecuted. It isn't prosecuted through the Criminal Procedure Rules. It's prosecuted through an election petition, which is like a special legal procedure, corrupt and legal practices prevention and so forth, right? So it's not even actually something through the Criminal Procedure Rules, right? So that's a legally privileged item, like an election material, which is Class E, right? Under Town and Country Planning Act. That is a legally privileged item. The police aren't allowed to touch or interfere with that in law. And if there is any legal action with it, it's not brought through the Criminal Procedure Rules like other crimes. It has to be an election petition, right? So, I mean, I don't know who investigates that. The Crown Prosecution Service are involved, but I don't think... I think they have to have their own special kind of appointed investigators and so forth. But that's just an example. You've got an item which is a legally privileged item. You can also have parliamentary privileged items, right? They can't be used in normal standard legal proceedings under the Criminal Procedure Rules, right? They got separate, right, procedures. So now the thing is, right, let's just set aside all these special categories, right? This is what I want to say to Ron Paul. This is another further, deeper layer of contemplation which has come through, in fact, just within the last hour while I've been, thinking about it, right? Which is When you look at the term felony, which is what I've got up on the screen here now, right? You've got the term felony. The true meaning, the original meaning of felony is an offence in crime whereby the punishment includes having your things taken from you, like your possessions. So obviously, if you get custodial or if you get put in prison, effectively, right, that you're being imprisoned, right? But then you've got like community service where you've got to do work, or fined is just paying a fine in money. But the word felony, when you research it, Americans use the word felony now. It's like standard terminology. We don't really use it in England that much, but its actual proper meaning for the word felony is a particular type of offence, which with it carries the taking away of your possessions or things, right? But that's through a crime. This is the authorities, the government, maybe even land or houses or something like that. Obviously, if you don't pay a fine, they send people to debt collectors and they take your possessions in order to pay a fine that you refuse to pay. But that's kind of different, because that's the sentence or the verdict for the crime that you're doing is actually itself not the punishment. So the felony, right? The sentence by the court is to have certain things of your possessions taken away, right? That's what felony is, right? The true meaning. Because in crime, in criminal law, they don't take your things from you. They only fine you or put you in custody or make you do community service, right? Even if you've got like a tag on you, a tracking tag, or an ASBO, which is like an antisocial behaviour, to keep you away from a certain area, it's not actually taking your things off you. In civil law, in a civil court, in civil law, that disputes ownership of items, right? But it's not a punishment for a crime you've done wrong against the state or other people, right? A crime that you have done against the state or other persons, that we're talking about criminal law and offences, right? Civil law, the dispute between party A and party B is that there are some things and it disputes who owns them, who is the real owner, right? If you damage something of someone else's, you are prosecuted under the state for criminal damage and offence. Civil, if partners split up with each other, they dispute who owns what and who has a share in what. When they're one entity, they share ownership, right? Now, you have civil law if two businesses argue who owns a copyright or who owns a logo or who owns something, but it's usually a thing, or they want to build something somewhere or make something or build a highway and another person doesn't want them to do it. You argue the law around it. You do or don't want someone to do something, or whether they legally can or cannot do something, right? Now, the thing with YouTube is this, right? So, in America, you've got this special law. It says that a publisher, YouTube will not be regarded as the uploader or publisher. So they can't be prosecuted for uploading or publishing something, right? But that's got actually nothing to do with a normal civil case, which has nothing to do with copyright law, or any criminal matters, right? Nothing at all. The thing with YouTube is this, right? So there are only two areas of law on YouTube. One of them is copyright, which is the right to upload something and who owns the rights to something when you publish it or not. And that was why that special section was invented, to make YouTube not liable, right? And other platforms, they're not regarded as the person who uploads it. So Warner Brothers or Universal Studios, whoever, don't sue them if someone else uploads content owned by another party. That's ownership of copyright, and if anyone owes anyone some money from it and so forth, is under civil law, right? Now, The other area of law is crime. Now, the YouTube policy, this isn't even law, remember. Except when something's illegal and a crime, that's criminal law. The YouTube policy for uploading content, which is completely separate to copyright, the community rules. If there wasn't any law of the country, any crimes, there wouldn't be anything to base the policy around, and there wouldn't be anything to enforce at all whatsoever. So we've got to enforce the law, because the law, if you break the law, that's criminal, right? Okay? But YouTube's policy, the policy of YouTube is effectively, it is the law. Let's get that clear. YouTube don't want anything on there that's illegal and criminal. But they've got this safety margin, right? Which is they're taking the policy beyond the law, right? Beyond the letter of the law. So they're saying that we don't want to accept or upload not things that are not just criminal and illegal, but any things that might be or may be, but anything that basically they don't want or like on there. And they give us some legal definitions which are extremely vague. They're not definitions which you can hardly rely on in court. I mean, they're not specific on it. In fact, they seem to make, we can decide every single case as we want, right? We can remove accounts for any reason or no reason, which you can't have that policy, because it would mean that if YouTube broke the law, they themselves are allowed to break the law and remove things for reasons that might be illegal themselves, right? They can't have that policy. But this is the thing, right? So the essential basis of the policy, right, is that they don't want to let anything illegal on there, and also anything which is unsavory or distasteful in their opinion, right? Or based around their very loose terms and definitions, harmful, illegal, dangerous acts, right? But they've also got this sexual content policy, which is anything that any person is going to receive sexual gratification from, right? Well, you can receive sexual gratification from a kiss, but kissing isn't pornography, because they have it on TV soaps, right? Now, YouTube have decided to allow all these crazy fetishes, which there are all these fetishes, which people are definitely getting sexual gratification from them, there's no doubt. And then there's yoga stretching, plenty nudity, painting breasts or breastfeeding, or even political actions where people are naked now, and they're refusing to remove it, right? Yet I upload some semi-naked dancing in a video which isn't even published to the platform. I kept it private, right? Just because I wanted to get some of that edited and share it with one person. So because it was a big file, right? So I didn't put the community at risk. And because of that one mistake or error when I had no strikes, right? And let's get this clear. There's no violence in it. There's no harmful acts in it. There's no aggression in it. There's nothing that would consider it as serious at all, even under the sex policy at all whatsoever, right? And I had no strikes. So it doesn't justify taking the whole channel down. So either it's hacked, it's either the Anonymous or some other group or party who's hacked it, or, Scammer Payback channel, some type of persons like that who's taken it down, and YouTube even think that it was, taken down by the system, or YouTube are just not applying their policy. That was the one video that they got. They have to base their claim on something that they've raised a claim with. If there's something wrong with your channel, they have to tell you what it is, right? They have to put a strike on and notify you of the item which has broken their policy. If it was anything else on my channel and they didn't tell me about it, they haven't entered a claim. There is no existing claim, right? They took it down because of one video. Now, I haven't broken the law, right? But they're just saying that they don't want that on their platform. But this is where we're getting into understanding actually what's going on in the law now, right? Besides the fact that I just want to mention that, my channel is meant to be special classification under political rights, and it's meant to be privileged items, privileged information, and privileged media, right? Under the law, which actually comes under the criminal procedure rules as well. If you haven't broken the law, then no one can take action against you for a crime. And if no one's got a civil claim against you, then, what is the civil claim? Have YouTube even got a legal claim against my channel, right? Because remember, the community policy protects you from things that might be illegal, right? Because that's what the law exists to protect people. What exactly is their policy protecting? What's the basis of their policy on the community policy? Are they protecting us from crimes, or are they? If it's a civil claim, what's a civil claim? Because anything that potentially might be a crime is a criminal charge. It's not a civil claim. You don't have a civil claim against someone unless you broke. Don't have a criminal charge against someone unless they broke a law. The only other action that someone can take is civil. Now, if I owe YouTube anything, right, under civil law, all the copyright stuff's under a civil claiming law. What under the community section is under civil law when it comes to pornography or soft pornography or anything like that? What's the civil claim? Now, they've got a policy that they say they don't want this or that on their platform, right? Now, the thing is, you can have a civil claim about the policy itself, and you can prove that you didn't break their policy in front of a judge. That's a civil claim, right? But this is the thing that I think I want to... This is a new insight today that I've got. And this is in addition to an act of law that I've found in England called the Public Meeting Act, where you can't be removed from a meeting. They're not allowed to remove you from a meeting, a joining with the public, which you've got a right to participate in, and you can transact information in it. Mainly things like community, what if it's a youth club, or you're opposing the council on something, or, a community want to, get a new sports centre, or anything, an official matter between members of the public, where they need to, they might be taking a legal action, they might not be, they might be taking a civil action, or they might just want to do something like, I don't know, they might want to hold a village fair or something, a feat, or they might want to have, they might want to have a sporting event in the village, at the local recreational ground for all the village to attend, and they're having a meeting how they're going to run it, right? You're not allowed to remove someone from the meeting or stop them transacting information. Now, YouTube cannot stop you from attending YouTube, because anyone who's posting something in the community section, right, which they provide a community section, surely it's for the community, you don't have to be logged in. You can watch any channel, read any comments under any video, and actually even read the community sections, and you can attend some of these live Zoom meetings without being logged in, right? So they can't, it's not private. Private is like, you have to pay for membership, or you're not allowed in unless, the owner. YouTube isn't private. It's privately owned, but it's not private, because absolutely anyone in the world who's got an internet connection can watch videos on YouTube. The police do it. The police don't log in, right? I've been told by the police in England they don't log in. Some police have an account, but that's just for like promotions and police, community messages and stuff like that. It's not for the investigators. Police investigators apparently don't log on. Maybe the undercover ones do if they're doing something, but that's a different department, not general crime, right? They don't log in. You cannot. YouTube's not private. It's anyone can go on there, even if they can't stop you from watching the videos, okay? No matter who you are. So this Public Meeting Act, that's half of it. Attending a meeting. YouTube actually can't stop anyone attending YouTube. It's impossible at the moment. It's not possible. It's not private. It's privately owned, but it's not private. Okay, it's like a bus station. Bus station's privately owned, but it's not private. It's not a private place, right? People traveling on there on public transport. The only thing that YouTube is stopping you from doing, how they're breaking the law of this Public Meeting Act in England, is stopping you from transacting information to the platform, not receiving it, right? And that actually is a law, even inciting people, encouraging people to do it. And they're doing that by the controls and buttons and trying to encourage people to use them. Censorship buttons, particularly if someone hasn't actually done anything wrong. YouTube are definitely criminal. They're definitely breaking the law now in England. In England. And really, I think that law, which is a 1908 law, I think that sets a standard for communications in general. And I think that really the First Amendment in America, if you take that English law into account, this is what Robert F. Kennedy was trying to prove through his own words and using his own law and his own case to the American courts with this Judge Trina Thompson or whatever she's called, right? So if you understand that law in England about the Public Meeting Act, for all of England, they don't have that act in Australia. I've looked, they don't have that act in America. But that act for the whole of England, YouTube are breaking the law in England now. I know that is the case, but yet we're not getting any extradition of Sergey Brin or any of the Google owners. We're not getting any extradition of Neil Mohan or Caroline Vasquez or Paul Groves. Yet they're taking down hundreds of thousands of people's content, media, memories, videos, their life. That is more serious than Julian Assange getting hold of one little clip of a couple of guys with guns saying a few words and shooting at some civilians, right? We're talking about stealing, taking, thieving, depriving people of their things. So, and hundreds of thousands of people. It's more serious than Julian Assange, but we're not seeing any extradition of these YouTube people from America to England for the courts. Nothing, right? Yet, and another thing is this, right? 10 years I had my channel. 10 years without hardly any problems, and I never changed the type of content I was uploading or what I was doing with the channel at all in February 2023, right? And I think it was phishing anyway, how I got removed, because they were phishing certain things to appear, which provoked me into doing what I was doing. And it was only one mistake. This is the thing, right? 4,000 videos, 10 years of my life, all of my memories, all of finding like that jackpot scratch card that I found, which was 40,000 to 1 odds, all of my talks, my legal material, talks on the rights that are meant to be opposing the platform, which oppose YouTube legal, all of those talks and material, literally 10 years of my life, all of my edits, all of my things, right? They've taken that to deprive me of it, right? That's theft. They've taken it down, they've taken it away from me, right? Yet, on one upload error, one mistake, which wasn't even published to the public, it couldn't have caused harm to anyone, right? And also, I'm ill at the time, could remember doctor under stress, so there's medical rights as well for making a mistake or error, right? Yet, YouTube now and Google are still... within now you can circle anything and search your phone for anything, right? Or you can, and they've got sneak peeks, you can have sneak peeks on the community page when you put some sneak peeks of this or that. They're all about getting access to your phone, getting access to your things, getting onto it, knowing what's on your phones. They're showing off about access to devices and phones for material, while they're taking material down and taking it from you. But yeah, it's meant to be convenience for you. This is good for you. We've invented this new thing for you. We've invented this new thing for you. This new convenience, this new app, this new tech. But they're getting more and more access to your things, right? But then you make one mistake or error on the platform. They don't want your things on there. They're taking them down. 4,000 items that they've taken down and removed it, but I don't have spare copies of half of that. And this is the thing, right? I'm going on a long time in this video, but I haven't even got to the new revelation or thought yet, but that's on top of it all. Videos that you make and you record is your possessions, it's your items, right? If you create a video, if you record a video, if you make an edit, right? Media, electronic media, right? Pictures, images, videos, sound recordings, those are your possessions. They're so much your possessions that this is what the whole argument with copyright was over. Warner Brothers, Universal Studios, they were arguing about who owns the rights to the content and who's got the right to upload it and make money out of it. They got a whole entire section on their website for that. Who has got the right to upload something and make money from it? Russell Brand isn't even making money from anything now, or Richard Verbs, because they've demonetized them, right? So, it doesn't really matter who owns it. They're not making any money from it because they're not allowed to get money from it. Yet there's loads of violence in movies that Universal Studios and Warner Brothers are making tons of money out of, showing violence and glorifying, shooting people with guns and Rambo, and so forth, which are violent, harmful acts or whatever. So it's just, the irony in it and the contradiction is it's ridiculous. But get this right. The main part of the whole copyright section is to do with civil law over who owns it. So we know that it's your possessions. We know that it's your material because they've got making a big deal out of who owns the rights to it. This is why they've got the Copyright Claim Board, the CCB, right? They've invented even a special court for it, right? So we know that your videos, your content, your edits, your things are your possessions. Now, a lot of people upload it to YouTube and they don't have a spare copy of it, right? Because just for the fact that, hard drives, you can get 1 gigabyte hard drives now, but you fill them up quick now when you're recording things. So YouTube also is a very extremely big storage. I mean, the amount of new disk drives and servers that they must be getting on a daily basis to accommodate for all the data storage must be immense. But the fact is this, right? If you've got something and you own the rights to it, okay, then it surely is yours. And if you haven't got a spare copy of it, that's your only copy you've got on YouTube. Now, YouTube's policy, I don't want to get into YouTube's policy because most of their policy they make for simpletons. It's simple. There must be a section in their policy which is a bit more technical into handing your rights over to them when you upload stuff. Again, they're taking your rights away from you. They love taking your rights away from you, right? And they love giving themselves the right to do anything they want. Look on your devices, have sneak peeks, knowing what you're doing, use adverts when you've spoken in your room, spoken out loud, use that information to fire adverts back on you. But yet, you make one little mistake or glitch, they can take 10 years of your life away. Erasure, it's erasure, right? It's erasure of your history, your existence, your memories, your possessions, things that you got copyright to. And they're stealing that from you and depriving you of it, right? Based on their policy, but you never broke a law. Well, get this, right? And this is, I'm going through this whole ocean of stuff, right, to get to this one point, which is my new insight today, right? And felony, right? In criminal law, felony, you can't take your things from you, right? In civil law, people can argue who's and what's what. So I guess the policy basis from YouTube is that you've handed all your things over to you. You've handed the rights of all your things over to you, right? But get this, right? Forget the copyright section for 1 minute, right? The community section is meant to exist at its core to prevent crime. It's meant to be that, you can't upload crimes. And or a video might be a crime, obviously, if possession of certain articles or whatever is illegal. So it is based on criminal law. The community policy is meant to be based on criminal law. And then YouTube have their policy. So, we're not going to have, rather than just banning pornography or certain pornography, we don't want to have anything that's even sexual, right? But the fact is that the basis of the policy, what's the principle? What's the point in the community policy? What's the point to it, right? But what's the entire point of the policy existing? It's to protect people, but protect them from what? Well, to protect them from things that might be dangerous, violent, or harmful. But what are those things? But those things are crimes, right? Because that's what makes them illegal. Because, community doesn't want those things to happen. In fact, they can't happen in law because they're illegal. So it's to protect people from what would otherwise be criminal or dangerous, right? It's not really over ownership. If you look at the community policy on YouTube, right, the original basis of the community policy is not ownership. It's not, these are our videos or these are your videos, right? When you have the copyright part is over who owns what and who's allowed to make money out of what, right? Now, YouTube have got this insane policy where no matter, well, if you're just watching YouTube, none of it's your content, it's all other people's, right? Unless you claim copyright, against another channel. But the community policy is not meant, notice, right? All of the content is like, you've done something wrong, you've done something wrong, you've done something wrong, you've done something wrong. Like, sexual thing or a harmful thing or a violent thing or disgusting thing or repulsive thing or whatever. It's not, oh, this is mine or this is yours, this is mine or this is yours. Everything under the community policy is, this is criminal and not allowed because it's illegal, or it's getting close to it. It's getting close to being criminal, so it's just distasteful, so we don't want to even encourage it, right? But it's nothing to do with, it's not like this is mine or this is yours. YouTube's policy is about this is mine, this is yours, because everything's theirs. Oh, everything's YouTube. YouTube own everything in the world. Sign your life over to them. It's about what is right in life and what is wrong in life. Okay, now courts are meant to decide what is right and wrong with a jury, a judgment of the peers, and you're meant to get a fair trial. You can speak your words and put your evidence and get judged fairly. But that's not happening with YouTube. You're not getting the right to a fair trial under community section of what is right and wrong in life or what was illegal and not illegal, because you never get to see a court. You get to dispute it with them, but then they just say, no, we reject your appeal, and that's the end of it. They don't want to speak to you ever again. You never go to a civil court when they raise a claim, ever. It never goes to civil court. And I don't think they're intending to take you to civil court, right? In fact, I don't think if you raise a claim, you're meant to resolve, they're thinking that you've conceded, basically. The basis of YouTube is that they raise a civil claim against you, you broke their policy, you dispute it with them out of court, they say we're right, you're wrong, and then basically you concede and don't pursue it any further, mainly because you can't afford to go to a court over it. No one can, particularly if you've been demonetised. Now with the lawyers and the cost of going to civil court and the fact they're in America as well, how can you even challenge them? You haven't got the means or resources. One of the requirements of civil court is that to make sure that all parties are on equal footing. But you're not on an equal footing when this platform is in America. And they've got an office in England with Paul Groves or whatever. You're not on an equal footing financially with them. And this Crown Prosecution Service are meant to protect us under the Public Meetings Act, which they're not doing, right? But, so all my videos, right, they are my possessions, right? They're my possessions. I own them. I created them. I invented them. I've got the copyright to them, right? Now, YouTube are on a policy which is meant to be law enforcement, criminal law, right? What is right and what is wrong under the law of any country, what is allowed and not allowed under the law of any country, criminal law, which their policy is based on. It's not a this is mine, this is yours. The community policy is not this is mine, this is yours, right? It's what is right and wrong in life, what you did wrong, what you did against the law or close to being wrong in the law, right? Unless it's a felony, which is a serious crime, you're not allowed to have your things taken off you, right? I'm guessing that YouTube, in fact, if you actually didn't break the law, serious, violent, serious criminal or legal act, what YouTube are doing is that if it actually was a crime, then you actually should be in court facing a criminal charge, right? But you don't. A lot of the serious policy violations, some of them aren't even breaking the law. So if it's not even breaking the law, it's not even a crime, let alone a felony. And even if it was actually breaking the law and a crime, it's got to be a serious crime to be a felony, a true felony, which is the sentence is to have your things taken off you. What YouTube are doing is under criminal law and under what is illegal and not illegal and what is wrong or right to the community, which is not this is mine and this is yours, civil law. This is criminal law. Under criminal law, YouTube, without a fair trial, are taking all of your things off you in criminal law because you did something that might or may be illegal, right? And you're not getting a fair trial. And you're conceding, and if you appeal them, really the appeal's under criminal law. That's not illegal, that's not criminal. It's not even close to it. And then they're conceding. But the thing is, they're not taking legal action against you. If you committed a crime, right, then why aren't they following it through? They're getting you to concede and give you a channel up, but they're not following the crime through. So it's almost kind of like a criminal charge. It's a little bit like the police, a conditional offer with the police, when you pay the fine, oh, you went speeding, but we'll give you a conditional offer, pay the fine, and you won't have to go to court. It's a little bit like that. Or sometimes the police can give you community service and you not go to court, you just accept it, right? That's kind of how YouTube are behaving now, but they're taking your things off you, but they can only take your possessions off you if it's a true felony. Because punishments are community service, fines, or imprisonment. Criminal law doesn't take your things off you. Even the police don't take your things off you. Even if they seize things for evidence, you're meant to go and collect it at a later date from the evidence room and put a form in to go and collect it. They're not supposed to destroy and dispose of it, right? You're supposed to get it back and apply for it to get back. They stole my stickers off me, actually. I never got them back when I went through them. They said, oh, we don't know where they are, right? Even when the police seize things, you're meant to fill a form in to get your stuff back after the crime or the charge, right? You're meant to go pick it up, right? Now, YouTube are only managing to do this because you agreed to their policy. Right, or to use this platform, you've got to consent to be able to do all this stuff. But the premise of it is criminal law. The premise of the community section is to protect people from crime. Right? Copyright, civil law. What YouTube are doing, they're making crimes. They're somehow converting criminal law into civil law. They're almost saying, consent to our policy, and then any crimes you commit, we won't take any further action as long as you give up all your rights, your property rights to your videos. But if it's a potential crime, a potential harmful, violent, or dangerous act, which is the only thing which can get your channel taken down and them take all your videos away, not just a strike for a mild policy violation, which isn't even a crime, right? They're using civil law agreement policy to give up the rights to your things, that if you commit a crime or felony or offence on their channel, they're saying that in civil law, you've signed up the rights for them to seize and take your things, right? What is it seized for? Evidence to be prosecuted? No. They're miraculously, by non-logic and some in the same type of logic by which all these policies are written, right? Oh, we can terminate your account for any reason or no reason at all, even if you're a Pakistani or a Chinese man. We could have that if we wanted to. We could have it. No, because I can enforce you not to do that because it's illegal. If YouTube did remove your channel because you're a Chinese man, that's a crime by YouTube. And the citizens have the right to citizens arrest and stop offences, intervention in a criminal offence. They don't have the right to remove your channel for absolutely any reason or no reason. They can't possibly have that policy. It cannot exist. And this is when a lot of the American top lawyers, solicitors, legal people are living in La La Land. And this is getting towards Trina Thompson, La La Land. This is Harris. This is Kamala Harris land. Because I'm sorry, but they don't have the capacity. And I know that Robert F. Kennedy was standing up for them the other day. They don't have the capacity. And they need the right teach. They can't work. They can't work it out for themselves. Robert F. Kennedy's defending Kamala Harris and Trina Thompson, saying that they do know, they do understand, and they can work it out for themselves. They don't need someone to educate and teach them. Robert F. Kennedy believes that they can understand it, they do know, they have got the capacity, and they're just morally wrong. They're making the wrong decisions. They're making political decisions for Joe Biden, for Kamala Harris, for YouTube. It's a moral error, right? That Robert F. Kennedy believes that it's a moral error. He believes they do understand the law. He believes they do have the capacity to understand it, but they're just morally wrong. I disagree with him, and I don't think they do understand it. I don't think that they have got the capacity, and this is the argument, you know. This is the thing. If Robert F. Kennedy truly believes that he's correct on his legal basis in his claim against YouTube, and Thompson it was a moral issue, well, that's impartiality problem. Surely that's an impartiality and a bias problem. Then if Kennedy thinks that she has got the capacity to understand and does understand, she just made a moral issue wrong. You know, that's the thing. Now, YouTube have taken 10 years of my life down. All of my work, investigations, which are privileged informations, legally privileged information and items of media under the 2020 criminal procedure rules. All of my special moments in life, all of that, I'm not even that bothered about the 5,000 subscribers I had, right? They've stolen it. They've taken it with an intent to deprive me of it, right? Because of one upload mistake of one video, and that's the only claim they've ever raised against me. If they want to raise a claim against me, officially, raise a claim against me. Don't give me a pseudo claim or a load of tosh. Oh, your channel doesn't conform to this or that. How, you know, I've had it for 10 years, it conforms. You know, if it didn't conform, how was it on for 10 years? They raised one strike. I had no strikes. They're saying it was serious, but they're not pursuing criminal action against me. It's on the basis of I did something wrong, not it's mine or theirs. The community strike is that you've either done something that is against the law or getting close to being against the law. That's right and wrong. That's criminal law. Okay? You can't take someone's things off them for that. You can't take their possessions off them. Even the court can. The court can't take your possessions off you except seize it as evidence and then give you it back. The court cannot have a sentence that if you misbehave, if you break the law, we'll take your personal possessions off you. It's not on the menu. It's fine, imprisonment, or community service. So how are YouTube doing it? How are YouTube doing it? Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook has got this option on Facebook where you can literally go onto a certain facility and press a button. It generates a log of all your stuff and you download it, right? That's like an information dump, right? YouTube aren't even giving me the option to have to go and buy, 10 gigabytes hard drives over a weekend and give me 48 hours to. Well, I don't think you can do it in 48 hours. Download, 10 years of video, 4,000 videos. It might take a week, right? Constant downloading. YouTube aren't even giving you the option to do a data dump of all your stuff and download it, recover it all. That's your stuff, right? They're using a civil law policy over, who owns what, or who's right or wrong in the law. Not, if you've done something wrong, right, in the community, which could be a crime or might be a crime, that's criminal law. They've completely and totally erased the definition and border between criminal and civil law. This is what these big platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, are all doing now, because they're not a court. Really, when they get you to agree to that policy, they're actually acting as if there's some kind of country where there isn't criminal and civil law, where there's just, you did something that we don't like, and we've got the right to do what we want to you in return, like take your things from you. That civil law taking your things from you, usually because they claim ownership of it. Now, when they get you to sign the policy, they're saying, right, we own all your stuff now, right? Would you say that, YouTube own your house and YouTube own your car? Would they say that YouTube own, and they can only take your car or something because they've got a court order to say that you owe them money? The sentence or the order from the court is not to take your things. It's that you owe money. It's only that if you don't give them the money, then the bailiffs come and take your things, and not any specific thing, just anything, right? This is the thing. There's what I want Senator Rand Paul, and I guess the other senators to understand, is this is what these platforms are doing in their space, like, MySpace, whatever, their space, is that there is no criminal and civil law. There is no fair trial. What they're getting you to agree to is so unconstitutional and against all judicial principle. It's just... I don't really think that... And then you've got... I don't think they actually understand what is being done to us. And if they do, I don't know how Congress can give these platforms immunity. Oh, they're big. They make a lot of errors by mistake. Oh, it's all right for YouTube to make mistakes. It's all right for YouTube to have glitches, accidentally trigger claims that aren't valid, like they admitted that triggered invalid claims against my other two channels that got removed when it wasn't even a strike or violation. It was just a system error, right? They can make thousands, millions of mistakes on a daily basis that might even result in people's channels getting taken down or getting a strike, not even being able to upload for a week, right? Thousands, millions. That means that they're like someone driving a petrol tanker. It's a dangerous job. They're constantly at risk. So that merits, the Senate giving them immunity, Biden giving them immunities. So, there's a lot of copyright cases here. We wouldn't be able to do have a platform if we haven't got immunity because, mistakes are natural. Well, what about your natural mistakes? I didn't have any strikes on my platform, right? And I'm also ill at the time. It's not right to take 10 years of someone's things, all their memory. That's like complete erasure. And they're wanting to move these policies onto your phone. The government, Keir Starmer and Biden and Kamala Harris, they like this. They want those policies to apply to your personal phone. To you in your house when you're speaking, when the phones are listening to you. The SNP party soon got voted out, didn't they? Soon got voted out of government in Scotland. They like it. Not only do they want these type of policies that you consent to and agree to be existent on these platforms, now they want to be able to search everything on your phone by circling this or have a sneak peek about, even in your conversations with your mates, what you might be planning or thinking about or talking about. And if you don't comply with their policies, you're gone. Erasure. All your stuff on your phone. Just like that guy who's doing the deal with the phones. Forgot his name now. That guy who was on Tucker Carlson, that ex-army guy in America. You pull a button and everything's gone. This is erasure of a person, like a person being cancelled, not only online, but actually on your device, possibly even before you even record it. And when you're talking about it, I mean, the way they're going, you're not even going to get a fair trial for that. Look at Assange. Assange was held in prison for 5 years in England, waiting to be extradited. When there were multiple political petitions about it, it was a big political matter because it's political when people start doing demonstrations about it, right? When it says you cannot be extradited for political reasons, he had to serve 5 years and he never went to that country, America, that charged him anyway. At least it was the prison system is the courts. The prison system is the Ministry of Justice. I'm starting to think that Google or YouTube might start making their own prisons that don't have a judge in them, don't have a jury, aren't the Ministry of Justice. The way that Robert F. Kennedy's talking about it now, Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos are going to own your house. If you do something wrong on their platform, it seems to me like the way they're going is like, poof, your entire 20 years of life, maybe even all your scanned photographs from when you were little, are just gone. And then, Jeff Bezos presses a button where you can't even leave your house. You've been quarantined or you've been held in imprisonment because you broke a policy on the platform. Now, we don't have that as the law at the moment. But this is now what Russell Brand and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and a lot of the main channels are talking about. We all know that is the direction where this is going in, right? That is the way they're taking it. That's the way they're taking it now. Because they're doing these Google are the ones who are inventing it all and implementing it. Now, at the moment, in England, it is illegal and a crime to remove me from engaging in meetings with other members of the public over serious matters and transacting information. Google are breaking the law at the moment in England en masse. It's serious. There is no protection under no American amendment or law for a felony, for a criminal offence. Not civil, not copyright law, not being treated as the uploader. We're talking about they stole and took and removed my things and removed me from a meeting. It's got nothing to do with what I uploaded. It's my ability to engage, which they are illegally intervening in, right? We're not getting any extradition of these people and we're not getting any arrests at all, right? And they've within their platform, they've literally made, Senator John Kennedy talks about word salad, right? Oh, it's word salad. Well, what YouTube have done at the moment, if you cannot understand this, there's likely plenty of technicalities you can go into deep, intricate provisions of legislation in multiple acts of law. But it's clear when you consent to that policy now, they've mashed up civil and criminal law. They've made word salad out of it, soup salad, right? And Senator John Kennedy, right, for one, if he does not acknowledge that, we've got a problem. They're raising criminal claims which they cannot take your things away from you for under breaking the community policy, which is things that are illegal, harmful, violent. And they're giving themselves the right to ownership and take all your things away from you. It's a miracle that actually they haven't given themselves copyright to use it as well. They can use it in evidence in a criminal charge. All that stuff they take from you that goes poof up in smoke. I mean, how can you prove ownership of it? In fact, that's another legal point. Wrap your head around this. You haven't got any copies of anything on any disk drives or any phones, right? All the copies you had were on YouTube, but you invented it and created it. So you own the copyright to it, right? So you break the community policy, which is possibly illegal potential criminal acts, which are illegal or unlawful, harmful or violent, right? They take all your stuff away from you, right? But then how are you going to prove if What happens if Warner Brothers use? What if one of your YouTube videos ends up? What if? What if someone else ends up using it? How do you prove that it's yours if you haven't got a copy of it in a civil case to the CCB board, to the Copyright Claims Board in America, right? How can you claim to the Copyright Claims Board online? YouTube aren't even giving you your stuff now. When you tell them, right, I've got a legal case, I've had a subpoena to them, they just ignored it. They're not even responding to subpoenas now. And then what happens if you want to sue someone for using your material that you don't have a copy of anymore, but you made it and you can't prove that? And they took your channel down. Even when you get a legal case and email them, say, I want this video, you haven't even got you can't even go through your channel to find the URLs, to find the links, to tell them which video it is clearly. The nightmare in law of this is so preposterous. It's so undemocratic that that policy cannot be lawful on the face of planet Earth. It cannot be. It's actually obstructing access to evidence for civil and criminal law. They're acting as if they're a court. They aren't a court. It's the New World Order where YouTube staff are your new justices, your new jury, your new jurats. Yeah, at least if the public could vote on it, if something broke the policy, maybe they should stick up on the naughty board for a month and let people vote on it, whether it did break the policy or not. That would be something. But then they'd be saying that, it's too nasty for anybody to even look at evidence. It's a miracle that jurors can even see evidence in a criminal case, photographs of a murder or something. It's too nasty to see, Why didn't you get a secret jury on there? These YouTube staff are meant to be the people who are judging it and looking at it. We didn't vote for them. They haven't been selected at random from the electoral register. They're all trained and groomed under corporate YouTube policy, right? Under Neil Mohan, Caroline Vasquez, It's wrong. It's at this point in time, they're forcing us down this road of not even the electors have no saying anything, because on these platforms the electors are made to sign away every single right that they've got or could have. I'm quite surprised that you can view it logged out at the moment. It's a miracle that it isn't private. And I don't know what Thompson's talking about with a bloody, it's privately owned. It's not private. You don't have to log in to watch it, read comments, or listen, or read community section comments. You can participate in it one way. It's like being behind a glass screen. You can see through the screen. It's not private screen. It's privately owned. But, it's a miracle that they don't turn the sound off like on Russell Brand. It's like a quarantine screen. I can see what's going on at the other side, but I can't hear anything. Oh no, we let you listen to it. This is the thing. We need this Judge Thompson. This Trina Thompson is I'm sorry, but she's not fit to be a judge on a circuit at that level of law, and she is a puppet of the Democrat system. I don't know what law school she went to. I don't know what qualifications she's got. She when she's evaluating this, she must be evaluating if you get a pie chart out of 360 degrees, it must be less than 1 degree of intellect, of information, of knowledge, of understanding. She's not even on the page. She's not even close to what is actually happening and going on in law on that platform of its policies. Is it criminal law? Is it civil law? No one knows, right? If you've committed an offence, you can't convert a crime into a civil claim just because it's convenient for a platform, right? oh, you got a strike. That video was harmful or violent. Well, is that a crime or not? Well, it was a crime, but because you've agreed to our civil policy, now all crimes are treated as a violation of our civil policy. Oh, right, so I committed a crime. You're not going to take any criminal action against me, but it violated your civil policy. But we're going to take all your things off you. The punishment for the actual punishment for the crime, is not even felony on some of these things. It's the punishment for the crime is likely less severe than what YouTube are doing to you, which is poof, gone. Your entire life and archives, your existence of the last 10 years is gone. And they own it now. Well, they can't own it in copyright. In fact, they have to make copies of it to have it on the platform, right? So you're actually giving them the right to copy it onto their platform. You're handing copyright. It's a miracle that they've even got possession of it. It's taken away. It's what Keir Starmer's doing now, wanting to take away all the right to object away, to like building and planning regulations. He wants to take all the rights away so you can't defend. You haven't even got a right to go to court now. You haven't even got a right to have your information to use in court. It's like the police forms. They're reducing the fields and the forms so you can't write anything. And this is what YouTube are doing when you complain to YouTube. They're restricting and reducing the fields so you can't write anything. And even if you attach like a PDF with a complicated legal argument, I don't think anyone's reading it. I've put loads of legal arguments. They're just ignoring it. It's not a legitimate company. I've put privileges claims, legal privileges, legally privileged information claims, all correct, all in order. Their legal team have just ignored it. What they're doing is they've built a wall of defense, so now you can't even take legal action against them. You don't want a company that you can't take legal action against. Who's governing it? Who's keeping it within the law? And if they've got immunities, effectively, they're not accountable to anyone now, I don't think. And this is how it's ended up like this. They're not accountable to anyone. No, they don't have any accountability, And who's keeping them within the law? No one. And the fact that, my channel is actually petition material and protected class on top of that, besides the Public Meeting Act, the California courts cannot be impartial. They've got to be showing bias. There's something wrong with these people in the justice system in California. Kamala Harris is kind of like their idol. They're kind of like, the vice president. She's meant to be the supreme legal person in America. She's not. She's helping these platforms. It's not even law anymore. I won't mind, but it's not even law. How can you claim to be a lawyer and you believe in procedure rules, in criminal system, in juries, in justice, in civil law, in criminal law, when your whole life's been erased from existence just because you made an error, when the people who took it, they're protected from their errors because they make a law of them, because their system's imperfect, because it's prone to malfunction. That is the most despicable, unjust, and blatantly criminal way of life that could be imaginable on this planet. And if these senators don't take immediate action against YouTube, that there's something wrong with them. Even Republicans, Republican senators should be ashamed of themselves. It's not justice. It's not policy. We're being consent, submit, accept. It's a perversion of the course of justice, because it's criminal law that they're putting a claim against you that you might have or could have committed a crime. Right? That's criminal law. And then they're making a civil claim against you that you didn't comply with their policy. and then they take your things off you for something which may or may not have been a criminal offence, which they can't, even the court can't do, but then they're doing it, they're taking it off you. It's a perversion of the course of justice, and it is not only professional negligence, it is it's abuse of a process. That is the essence of an abuse of a process. They're getting a process like crime, right? Or, you uploaded something which is illegal, and they're abusing that process, and it ends up being manipulated into a civil claim against you that you broke their policy. So they're taking all your things off you, and you don't even get to defend it in a civil court that they're your things and you want them back. Oh no, you signed our policy, you couldn't possibly have a civil claim against us. It cannot conform to any laws of any civilized nation. It cannot conform to the laws of Australia. That it cannot conform to the laws of America or England, because it's in breach of the Public Meetings Act for certain. That's for sure. All the transacted information has been gone. Right? It's not available. And you can't participate. You can only participate one way in meetings. That's, listen and watch. You can't transact the other way. It's wrong, and Kamala Harris, there's nothing, a person like Kamala Harris who thinks this is the good thing, she isn't fit to look after a kindergarten nursery, and she shouldn't be allowed to. She shouldn't be allowed to. This California court is the California court is perverting the course of justice, aiding and abetting YouTube, and it's an abuse of the process. That the YouTube policy is an abuse of processes and a perversion of justice. What it's doing is it's forcing you to have no other possible option but to literally consent to anything that they want, and it's actually cheating you out of the legal process, and you haven't even got your information, data or material available after it to challenge them, and they're obstructing communication. They won't correspond with you properly. It's just been bossed. It's been dominated, ruled. It's the ultimate fascism, but yeah, they're coming out with all these. Oh, we've got a new thing for you. Well, what's that? Oh, circle anything and we'll find it on your phone. Well, that's not for me. Surely that's for you. That's not for my convenience. That's because you want, sneak peeks at what we're talking about, saying and thinking before we've even said it. This is, in essence, where they're going. I don't know if Donald Trump is behind this. I don't know whose policy it is. I know it's not RFK's. Maybe it is only the Democrats now, but something needs to be done now in these California courts. Now it has to stop. People are entitled to access their things, even if the channel is not live to the public, even if it's shadow banned. You've got a right to access your data, and if they want to say, you've got 1 month to download all your stuff and get it off here, then fair enough. If they say, you've got 30 days to go, you'll have to go buy a 1 gigabyte hard drive or 10 gigabyte hard drives or whatever, and dump your stuff like Zuckerberg does with you, press a button and generate all your stuff to download, then so be it. But at the moment, I can't access my things. You can't even look at your itinerary of things you uploaded, even if you've got a court case or something like that. It is an abuse of the legal process. And I don't think... Well, they must be taking it seriously because they invented it, but they're taking it seriously for them, not for us. But they're the ones who don't have to take it seriously because they're the ones with the immunity, supposedly, but not immunity from being criminals against us. When their system is not perfect, it's got loads of faults in it, false claims, false strikes. It's an imperfect system which commands and demands us to be perfect in life. And they're trying to make us be even more perfect when their system is far from perfect. Their actual platform's not perfect. It's glitched. And then there's the element of other parties taking a role in it, like, whether it's the Anonymous movement or, I don't know, the IRA or God knows, or, scammer payback or whatever. Andre Vicek, Norton making two accounts of people that didn't exist, back inventing finances for himself, products that I never bought and never subscribed to are suddenly appearing. We've got issues.